And it's been fun hosting with you, Greg. I'm just enjoying it so much. You know, you and I have been in India in some of the worst conditions imaginable, some of the most remote conditions. And look, here we are together. Whoever could have written that?
You know, when I travel with you and our good friend Floyd Brabell over at Voice of the Martyrs, and I said to you after the trip, said, Cheryl, you're like one of the guys, because you weren't one of those, where's my hairdryer kind of person. You were awesome.
Thank you. That's a big compliment. Absolutely. And you know, I've always loved you and Floyd, actually, your passion for the persecuted church and being a voice for them, you know. And now you're working with Open Doors as the communications director. They just released their World Watch List, such an important document, the top 50 countries. Every year they do this around the world where Christians are suffering for their faith. Here's a sense of it right there, the top 50.
You know, and in various levels, and I would encourage people to go to opendoorsca.org, and you can find out how the researchers put this all together. You know, why is North Korea number one? Well, because you've got you know, a society where you can't even think about God. I met a lady from North Korea, and she'd never heard of God until she was 70. Now she's serving the Lord, and we'll talk about her a little bit later on in the program. So, and then you have this brutal crackdown. I mean, a place like North Korea, if you're caught with a Bible, you could be in prison or even executed, and they also arrest your family members. So it's a very difficult place to be a follower of Christ.
Yeah, and Somalia is number 2. Somalia moved up 4 places this year. Why is it moving up the list?
It's a lawless country, and you've got a group called Al-Shabaab, and then you got these faction groups, and they're just making a mess of the country, and they target Christians. And we've heard stories from Somalia where somebody is converted to Christianity. If they're caught with a Bible, sometimes they're even executed in public. So again, you got the lawless situation, as you know, like Afghanistan too. You have some democracy there, but you got a lot of extremist groups that are just causing all sorts of problems for Christians.
Afghanistan's 3. Pakistan is number 4. Pakistan as well has some lawless areas there on the Afghani border, and Christians are really suffering. I never used to hear about Pakistan, but these days more and more and more, just horrific tales.
Yeah, I've been in Pakistan a few times. In fact, I've been able to, you know, the privilege of teaching in the Bible college and helping the believers the best we can to be prepared going into those Taliban territories, which it's so dangerous. And again, if you're caught, you know, your life expectancy beyond that point is not very good. And again, because there's this lawlessness, and Pakistan considered, you know, a country that is broken. And you've got, again, faction groups, and, you know, they'd use different kinds of laws to persecute the Christians.
Yeah, number 5. What is number 5? That's Sudan.
Yeah, where you've got, again, the president of that country is actually wanted on war crimes. It's, you know, it's evil, and they're trying, again, to eradicate all forms of Christianity. We just recently heard of a couple pastors from Sudan that were sentenced to 12 years in prison because they were with a missionary from the Czech Republic, and they were arrested, you know, for spying. I mean, that's not what they were doing. They were just helping a man that had been injured with medical costs. So again, you have these situations where the gospel is just so difficult in many of these places.
Yeah, and you know, one of the trends that we see this year with this list is that in South and Southeast Asia, we're seeing really a rise of religious nationalism. And you and I experienced that when we were in India in 2006. And of course, India is one of the countries that's experiencing that surge.
Right, they've moved up all the way to 15, and you have this nationalism that ties the dominant religion in India as Hinduism. And since the BJP party came in there with President Modi, or Prime Minister Modi, that now you have, again, just an emphasis on, you know, eradicating anything that, and it's to the Muslims, Buddhists as well, but the evangelical Christians get caught in that, and they make it very difficult. And so the NGOs are being kicked out of the country as they're giving money.